Hello, welcome back to Core Finance. I'm Matt Brown. I am joined by James Hughes, who is a Chief Market Analyst of the UK and Europe as well. Notice they're separate.
Yeah.
At AxiTrader, and that's probably a good point to start on.
Yes.
UK and Europe, two separate regions, two separate areas, who knows where we're going to go. Are we going to have a Norwegian model scenario, which... no pun intended, you know, some would probably quite like. What is going on?
Well, UK, Europe, and then the biggest, ugliest mess sitting in the middle. Mm-hmm. And this week has been kind of a comedy of errors from how this Brexit discussion has gone. And unfortunately, there's only one person to blame for any of this situation, and none of it is to be blamed now. All we can blame is Theresa May. She's the only person to blame for this situation. And the only reason you can blame her is not to do with Brexit, not to do with putting David Davis as Brexit Secretary or anything like that, way before all that. The problem is that Theresa May failed miserably in her election. And that is the problem with Brexit negotiations now. And if there was... we all know that the DUP have this amazing sweetener to be within the government, and it's kind of, here's your £1.5 billion. We're not going to really come to you that much. Mm-hmm. We'll probably talk to you about Brexit, but apart from that, just be quiet in the corner and help us out because I've failed miserably. And she probably thought she had a great deal and everything was looking brilliant until it comes to the fact that suddenly someone remembered, oh, the only part of the UK that has a border with the EU is Northern Ireland. And of course, there was always going to be problems around this situation. We know there's problems whenever anything between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland is discussed. We know it's a touchy area to be involved in, and we know there are a lot of ramifications within it.
But that can be solved within 48 hours, surely. Forget all these Good Friday agreements and everything that's gone in the past, where Clinton, Blair, and Ireland. Everyone had to sit down for months and talk and discuss. It's just quite simple. Europe, Barnier is saying, just deal with it. 48 hours, done.
Yeah, you would
Easy
think
peasy.
so. You would think so. But then you look at, and you go to this now, and Arlene Foster, quite rightly, and if people, and you see a lot of backlash towards Arlene Foster, but of course, she's in an unbelievable situation for Northern Ireland, where she is the power within the Brexit negotiations. She holds all the cards. And it's either, OK, don't be a pain and we'll still give you £1.5 billion and we can still carry on. But on her side, she's just saying, well, I'll just let you have another election. It's no problem. And you'll probably lose. So it is a disgraceful mess at the moment. We know it. And there was all of this discussion. And of course, I was talking about markets last couple of days on a couple of interviews. And we were talking about a lot of the questions come. So post-Brexit, what does sterling look like? Post-Brexit, what does euro look like? Who knows? Who knows? And the reason is because we have no idea what post-Brexit Britain or post-Brexit Europe looks like. And not only do we not know, David Davis doesn't know, Barnier doesn't know, Juncker doesn't know, Theresa May doesn't know. We have no idea what it means. Brexit could be the best thing that's ever happened to this country. It could be put us in a recession deeper than the one we've just come out of 10 years ago. We just don't know. And with such a big question mark hanging over everything that's happening, you can totally understand why businesses are going, well, I'm not going to deal in London at the moment. I'm not going to put so much money through the UK at the moment, just in case. I can absolutely understand why that would be the case. So you look at sterling at the moment. You look at the movements that we've had. Such a volatile week within sterling, and it's because it's been a very Brexit-heavy week. Of course, we know that, but this is the future. This is what we've got to come until until we get any sort of real headlines or any real traction within this. We're going to see sterling bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce. Highs, lows, all over the place. Now, that's not a bad thing for us as traders, because volatility, movements up and down, from a trader's point of view, that's ideal. It means there's so many opportunities out there. So I hear a lot of traders saying, oh, well, this is a nightmare. We can't really judge it. It's one way, then it's the other. That's what we want. We want that volatility as traders. Brexit, utter mess. What does it mean for the UK? Who knows? What does it mean for sterling? It means there's trading opportunities all over the place.
And let's touch on, before we finish, Trump.
Yeah.
Israel.
Yes.
Again, it's something, in just one fell swoop, you can undo the US's policy for 70, 80 years with regards to recognising Jerusalem as Israel's capital. What does that mean for global markets?
It means, yet again, it means that obviously Donald Trump, he's just not too bothered about any repercussions. He's kind of either eternally positive about how things are going to end up, or he doesn't care, one way or the other. We don't know which one that is. But of course, this could ignite all sorts of tension. I mean, the Middle East, which has been, and we know it's been peace processes in the Middle East and all of the negotiations between the US and the rest of the world in the Middle East. It's a very, very touchy area where we know that so much work in diplomacy has gone into that area. But Donald Trump comes along and, of course, just makes knee-jerk decisions and that's it, and we all have to deal with it. What does it mean for markets? Well, you look at equity markets, US equity markets, there is this obsession with all they're doing is going up. Okay, this week we've seen a little bit of downside. Is that going to continue? Well, I think it's just more uncertainty, and it adds to the piles of uncertain areas, haven't you? But just when you've got uncertainty coming in with the Middle East now, you're getting some taken off the table because the tax plan is making its way through. It's gonna happen. Donald Trump's got more traction on his travel plan. He's getting a little bit more success in the key area that he tends to ignore quite a lot, which is the United States.
And do you think getting those green lights on certainly the tax reform has led him to say, well, actually, let's revisit the migration and immigration topic. Let's look at Israel. Let's rock the boat there.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about a Mexican wall. Let's have a pop at North Korea and maybe China while we're at it.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. Donald Trump hasn't necessarily been that Donald Trump-like, has he? He's been particularly quiet. He wants to get this tax bill through. It's a very, very key piece of legislation, and it's also key because the Fed are taking away this balance sheet, reducing the balance sheet. They're doing that because there is this other side. You're taking the stimulus out from one side, but that tax reform is going to help it on the other side. So it's very important in terms of overall markets that goes through. Donald Trump's getting some traction on that, and it's almost like a kid at school, isn't it? It's like, well, that went well. People like me for that one, and that seems to be going well. Let's just go back to being gung-ho. Let's deal with Jerusalem. Let's deal with North Korea. Let's put the travel ban back in place. And you're right. I'm sure a couple of weeks we're going to be talking about the war again.
Well, on that note, James Hughes, lots to talk about from AxiTrader. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thanks very much.